Look at the elephant out of the room right now. You've heard the jokes. You've heard the insults. It's a starter bike. It's a girl's bike. It's half a Harley. If you believe that, turn this video off right now. You don't get it. Because the machine we're talking about today isn't just a motorcycle. It is the longest-running model in the history of the United States. It's the bike that fought a war against the British and won. It's the bike that Evel Knievel used to jump over snakes and sharks. The Harley-Davidson Sportster isn't the little brother. It's the brawler. It's the hooligan. And today, we're going to find out why this misunderstood legend is actually the most important motorcycle Harley ever built. To understand the Sportster, you have to go back to the 1950s. America was changing. The big, heavy cruising bikes, the panheads, were cool, but they were slow. They were tanks. Meanwhile, a threat was coming from across the ocean. The British, Triumph, Norton, BSA. These bikes were small, light, and fast. They were embarrassing Harley at the stoplights. American kids didn't want a tractor, they wanted a hot rod. Harley was losing the streets. They were bleeding. They needed a weapon. And in 1957, they pulled the trigger. They introduced the XL Sportster. Just look at the name. Sport. It wasn't about comfort. It was about domination. It had an 883 cubic centimeters overhead valve engine. It was stripped down. It was raw. And most importantly, it was fast. For the first time, a Harley could actually rev. It could corner. It was the absolute king of the drag strip. In 1957, this wasn't a cruiser. This was the super bike of its day. The Hemi-Cuda on two wheels. Then came the 60s and 70s. The era of the Ironhead. This is where the Sportster got its reputation for being, let's say, difficult. The Ironhead engine was a beast. It was cast iron. It was heavy. And it vibrated like a jackhammer. Old-timers will tell you, you didn't ride an Ironhead, you survived it. Parts would literally shake off the bike while you were riding. Mirrors became useless. Your hands went numb. But that was the point. It wasn't polite. It was a mechanic's bike. If you owned a Sportster in the 70s, you carried a wrench in your pocket, and you knew how to use it. This was also the era of the chopper. While the big twins were getting expensive, the Sportster was affordable. It became the canvas for the entire custom culture. Extended forks, hardtail frames, wild paint jobs. The Sportster wasn't just a factory bike anymore, it was whatever you wanted it to be. It was pure, unfiltered freedom, usually covered in oil and grease. By the mid-80s, Harley was in trouble again. The Ironhead was ancient technology. It was unreliable. So, in 1986, they introduced the Evolution engine, the Evo. This is the engine that saved the Sportster, and maybe even Harley-Davidson itself. It was aluminum. It was reliable. You could actually ride it across the state without rebuilding the top end on the side of the road. This era cemented the Sportster as the ultimate blank canvas. You had the hugger, the custom, the sport, but the core remained the same. A V-twin engine, two wheels, and a frame. Nothing else. No radiator, no computer, no traction control. While the rest of the world was moving toward plastic fairings and high-tech gadgets, the Sportster stayed true. It was a dinosaur, yes, but it was a T-Rex. It became the entry point for millions of riders, not because it was easy, but because it was pure. It gave you that visceral, shaking, noisy connection to the road that a Honda or a Yamaha just couldn't replicate. But time catches up with everyone. Strict emission laws, noise regulations. The air-cooled V-twin was suffocating. In 2022, the unthinkable happened. Harley-Davidson killed the air-cooled Sportster. The evolution was dead. Internet comments exploded. This is the end. Harley is doomed. But then, they unveiled the Sportster S. Look at it. This isn't your grandpa's bike. Liquid-cooled, 120 horsepower, Revolution Max engine. It doesn't shake, it screams. It has riding modes, cornering abs, TFT screens. It's controversial. Purists hate it. They say it lost its soul. But look closer. Remember 1957? Why was the Sportster created? To beat the fast form bikes. To be a hot rod. The new Sportster S does exactly that. It eats Triumphs for breakfast. It destroys Indian Scouts at the drag strip. In a weird way, by changing everything. Harley stayed true to the original mission. Performance first, nostalgia second. So let's go back to that insult. A starter bike, is it? If a starter bike is a machine that has dominated flat tracks for 50 years. If a starter bike is the platform for the greatest custom motorcycles in the world. If a starter bike is a legend that has outlived every single trend, fashion, and competitor for 7 decades. Then yeah, call what you want. But the Sportster doesn't care about labels. It doesn't care about your opinion. It just wants to ride. It's not just a motorcycle. It's the heartbeat of American motorcycling. And if you're lucky enough to ride one, you know the truth. It's not a girl's bike. It's a giant killer. Thanks for watching. Ride fast, ride safe.